Thanks. All right. And I think we're live then. Hello, everyone from the chat, everyone watching that in the future. My name is Guillaume. This is Thoman's Guitars and Basses. And I'm super duper excited to be with Ariel Posen.
Hello, hello.
Hello, Ariel. Okay. Just sorting through. I had the chat open, so I heard myself talking, but that was very unpleasant. How are you, man?
I'm doing well, thanks. Just, taking it day by day.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Yeah. Same, pretty much. Seeing as we go, and but my situation at the moment could be a lot worse, to be completely honest.
Yeah. How so?
Well, I'm here, I'm healthy, and I'm happy, and I'm talking to you, and life is, So,
feeling is
thank you. Thank you very, very much for spending some time with us, man. That's so cool.
Yeah, of course.
As usual, we have a theme throughout these live streams that we do, and goes out the window pretty quick. So I usually jump on the occasion to having just like the first question to make sure we have at least the first one going, cool. And give the guys in the chat some time to settle as well. So I guess I'll be starting with that if that's okay with you.
Sure, man.
So how long is a year and a half old at this point?
Yeah.
And
yeah, almost basically exactly a year and a half.
And when you released Familiar Ground, and if anyone watching this at any time hasn't seen Familiar Ground, please go and see that. You put in caption that this was kind of the closure for how long, and this was like the last thing you would do for that record to focus on something different. How's that been going since then? It's been I don't know, maybe 6 months or something.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So basically, the idea with Familiar Ground was, well, as you know, like when you put out a record or you put out anything, it's got a certain shelf life until it gets to a point where you really shouldn't be posting about it anymore. People moved on, including yourself, right?
Yeah.
So, that's called the album cycle, and I was right at the end of it. But at that point, the album had been out for 9 months because we filmed and recorded that at the beginning of September last year.
Uh-huh.
And I recorded the album almost a year, like maybe 10 months before it was released. So I had been sitting on those songs and playing them live on the road pretty extensively. And they just evolved a bit. They got a bit more comfortable. I felt like I was singing them better, playing them better. So I just wanted to showcase how they evolved. And like so much of my show, or my music rather, I'm proud of what it sounds like on record, but there's so many things that happen live that don't come across on the album. Yeah. So I just had that idea of, doing the live in studio thing at the studio that it was recorded, and it was fun. And yeah, it basically, I still had a bunch of touring, October, November, January, February, up until March, right before the pandemic started, basically. Yeah. So for those 5 or 6 months, it just gave just a few more months of, a little bit of new music, even though it's the same songs. But yeah, since then, basically right after I signed off on the masters of my last record, I started writing for the next record. And I have been busy. Like when I haven't been on the road, I've been busy writing, and I recorded it back in December, and it's already done too. So album number 2 is already.
Is it all like in the box?
Well, it's all like mixed and mastered.
Oh, okay.
I mean, all the other logistics are just about close to done. I mean, obviously, with what's going on in the world, things in terms of the schedule and the plan got thrown upside down.
Obviously.
But I'm going to release it when I'm in no rush, I'm going to release it when the time's right, when people are ready for new music, and when there's there's space for it to be released, if you know what I mean. Just like,
Yeah. I've had different opinions on that, like throughout these live streams and just conversations that I've had with musicians across like the past 2 or 3 months, you know, and because I was kind of a part of it. I've been sitting on songs for like 2 or 3 years, and I started releasing them, I don't know, like a month ago or something. So like right in the middle, and a lot of people were telling me like maybe that's not the best idea because, you know, that and. But it was pretty much 50-50. I know other people telling me that it was the absolute best time to be releasing music right now because people are consuming a lot more music and everything.
I think, I mean, in the States and I know in Canada, the last couple of weeks, you know, there's some, the continent's on fire, so to speak.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on that, you know, focus needs to be on what's going on. And I think a lot of people aren't interested in art right now,
absolutely,
as they shouldn't be. But the last couple of months, I felt bad for everybody that had scheduled to put stuff out in that first month. So like, I feel like the pandemic lockdown really started on March 13th. Anyone that put something out for that first month from March 13th to April 13th, I just felt so bad. Unless you're Drake or Beyonce. I mean, like, people, that's like comfort food of music. People are gonna listen to that anyways. But for all the independent artists, that got swept under the rug. People, I feel so badly. Just like, couldn't have been worse timing to put something out when the world was so distracted by something. And I know that streaming was at an all-time low. Yeah. Although YouTube was at an all-time high. But like by mid-April, May, and this month, excluding the last couple of weeks, I'd say that it's been safe to put out music again. Like people are consuming it again. It's to a degree, you know, some people listen. So many people listen while commuting or going to work or this or that. And I guess more people are doing that again. Stuff is opening up. Yeah, it's tough to navigate. Remember when it was just all about, I'm going to just release this when I have a good strategy and the music's done. Now you got to plan around.
Now I'm going to tour for a year to defend it. And because that was the tough thing. Like anyone that was relying on solid marketing to release music, that was, as you said, like the Drakes and Beyoncés, and like they're okay. I don't doubt that. But anyone that relies on touring to go out and put their music out and like that was hard.
It was crazy. I was really fortunate to get all my touring done right before. I think my last gig was on March 7th. And
that was good timing in unfortunate circumstances.
Yeah. Everything else is canceled, but got those in. Cool. Sorry, go ahead.
No, man. It's just really good to hear that the second record is in, and that'll be hitting soon. Because been watching, your YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and seeing the song series come out, and it's like some nuggets of information here and there. It's like that's coming. You know, it's all in due time, but it's still really exciting.
Oh, I'm glad you're excited. I'm excited. I it's hard not to. I want to put it out today, but this is basically the worst part about putting out music is when you have to sit on it for a while.
Yeah, I feel that. Okay, we do have a bunch of people already. Hi everyone in the chat. Zeph, where are you from? Ariel, you sound Canadian. Okay, he's Canadian. That's why he's saying that. You sound Canadian. Hi from Australia. That comes from Travis. And Travis is asking, just wondering what's your approach to writing lyrics? That is a really good question.
That's a great question. My approach kind of changes. I'd be lying if I said that lyrics came easier than the music side of things. I definitely, if you asked me to write a song, full arrangement, just music and chords, like I could do that in 1 second. Yeah. Obviously, lyrics are the most important thing, and that's what really resonates with people, and that's like the story and the narrative is everything. But sometimes a lyric can start from a random line that means nothing. Yeah. So usually when I'm writing, I think of an idea or I have a theme or just an experience, and I just basically try to write about that and try to go for that. And sometimes I've written, pardon me, for the song How Long, for example, I had this lick. I had that thing. Yeah. And I was with my friend, or my producer, who I was writing the song with. It was in April, and my birthday is in April. And we were here in Winnipeg, and usually it should be spring by now. And it wasn't. It was still snowing, but like the snow was getting really dirty just because it was raining and snowing, and everything was just slush, and it was gross outside and cold. And as a joke, after he said, "What was that line you were playing?" I said, just as a joke, I went, "April is letting me down," because it's my birthday month. It should be nice out. And we just went with that. April is letting me down had nothing to do with the song, but it started, as almost like an icebreaker to set the image. Yeah. And then go from there. And so sometimes songs can be written like that. You just need one little kickstart phrase or word.
I'm 100% with you on that one. But it's funny that question keeps coming back because people seem to have the idea that there are like two teams of people writing lyrics first or melody first, and then or the opposite,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And sometimes you do meet people that are exactly like that. It's like, no, I need to have the lyrics to come up with the melody, but you don't seem to be as close into that sort of mechanism.
No, for me, whatever happens. Like, I wish I was the type of person that had a journal with me all the time and just flooded with lyrical ideas, and I'm just constantly writing them down. But I'm not. That's not how I am. I'm more of like, I hear a melody or a musical idea and I sing it to my phone voice memo, or I play it, and then I put it all together. I think, to be honest, the most important thing about writing is like, there's no rules. You got to just do it however it works for you.
Yeah, it definitely has to be an organic process. Otherwise, the result is just not going to be true enough to hit people in that. I don't know if that's the right word, but yeah,
it is. And like, writing is hard. Like, music is hard. Music's hard enough, but like writing songs, that's even harder. Like, I have so much respect for the people that have publishing deals that like write songs 9 to 5, because they're the ones who are in the gym every day, hitting those weights. Because like songwriting, there is talent in it, but just like anything else with music, it's a skill to some degree too, and it's a muscle that you got to strengthen. And if you're doing it every day, all the time, like ideas just come to you, lyric ideas, like variation of words, how to use phrases, how to be more metaphorical. It just like hits you so much easier because you're doing it a lot. Yeah. And I'm guilty for taking time off of writing. Like, when I'm on tour, I can't write at all.
Yeah, but I
am just way too busy.
That's part of it. Yeah, I think as a like brackets modern musician, you kind of have to be a songwriter and you have to be a musician, but you also have to be a touring musician and you have to be a producer, because you're not really gonna hire someone to pre-produce like demos and everything. You have to have your own thing ready, and that's a whole different set of skills. So much to focus on. Mm-hmm. So that's how I legitimize my issue with songwriting. It's just like, but no, I have to learn how to use Logic right now. It's like, I can't do that.
There's always something. There's always something. The thing I would say though is, for those that are trying to write, and I'm not an expert, I'm just another guy, just like everyone else in here who's trying to write songs. To keep that muscle as strong as you can. If you're writing a song that you think is horrible, and maybe it is horrible, just and you're thinking of just shelving it, putting it aside, finish it. Try to finish everything that you start, just so you can get into that completion type of mentality. So you're always finishing songs. That'll help you in the long run. Just, be focused in that way to just like commit to it, and it'll make you stronger in time.
Yeah, just having it out of your system. That's really good advice. And that was a really good question. Thank you very much, I can't remember who. Thank you very much, Travis from Australia. Got some more questions in there. Immer wieder summer. That's definitely German, and that sounds very positive. Always summer, I like that. Ariel Hart, do you have a favorite guitar tuning apart from the standard? And then I have 25 follow-up questions on guitar tuning. But go ahead, your favorite.
Well, I only use 2 tunings, and I'd say I'm 50-50, maybe 60-40. So standard tuning. I just play standard tuning and open tuning. So open tuning, as in like open E, open D, open C, that's one. If I was to say the intervals, like 1-5-1, 3-5-1. It's like an open major chord, like
major
that.
Chord, yeah.
So I mean, when people say, do you prefer open C or open D or open E flat? I go, well, it's all the same. It's just different. It's just transposed differently.
Yeah.
And then this guitar, this is in B standard. This is like baritone tuning, but it's standard tuning. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So is it? Would you say that it's more about the pitch than really the relationship between the strings, or is it something that suits better for in your head? Do you think the tone's better? Do you think it works better with your voice? What kind of drew you to that?
All of the above.
All of the above. Okay.
Like I started back when I just wanted to get into open tuning. I started in open E because everything was as close as it's going to be.
Yeah.
In terms of where it shows up on the fretboard. And I started taking an open E guitar to every gig I was playing. If I was playing a wallpaper gig, if I was playing a pop gig, like almost any gig, I would take the open E guitar and just try to force what I knew in standard onto that.
Oh, wow.
There was a lot of trial by fire.
Yeah.
But it helped me also think on the fly and just not think about it and just let my fingers kind of go to it. Because you want to basically be numb. You don't want to have to think about it. You don't want to have to. So it took a lot of time. I'm not saying like it clicked for me immediately. It was years and years of working on it. But then in time, I was doing a lot of playing where I wanted to tune down more, and I never really understood it until I realized I could just do the same tuning in open D flat, open C, put heavier strings on it, and it feels the same. And then when I started writing all of my songs, and I write a lot of songs in G, in C, in F, like around those tonal centers.
Chords. They're good chords.
They're good chords, yeah. But those keys, rather than playing in open E and like having to play my G here or my C here, why not tune it so it's wide open? Yeah. So my C can be it's warmer and bigger. And it just sits for my vocal range, including the baritone tuning. But that being said, I don't like it for everything. There's a lot of times where I like having it more standard, like in E being open, because you do lose some of the high end. And
definitely.
Certain textures are lost, but certain textures are gained.
Yeah.
So that's why I like doing both. They're like two different voices to me, almost like two different instruments. I play kind of different in each tuning. Like I can do most of the same stuff in either one. If you said, show me, can you do that? What you just did in open tuning and standard, I probably could, but some things don't work as well. And those things that don't work as well is what separates the two tunings for me and just make it really worth bringing on the road, like two different tuned guitars.
Yeah.
And just for writing too, back to writing. Like I write. Sorry, man. I feel like I've interrupted you 3
times. No. You're the one.
Just for writing, I get
people are here for you.
Yeah, just as a writing tool, like it really inspires different ideas.
Yeah.
If you find yourself in a rut, like in doing the same old thing, switch tunings, and then you try something different, and you're like, oh wow, I'm gonna go down that route,
Yeah, 100%. But following that, I'm in the process of trying to be inspired by open, like down open tunings. And I just recently switched from standard or like half a step down to C or B. And I'm getting a grip of it. Like I can play with it, but I can't really be inspired by it now. Like if for some reason I'm not. Do you think it's just a question of comfort? Did it take longer for you to actually be inspired picking up that guitar and writing something, or was it like, oh, this is like from the start, this is inspiring. This is what I like. I like that.
Well, I started exploring open tuning because I was inspired by how it sounded.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I was hearing things done in that tuning that were letting me hear chords and things done that I'd never heard them on guitar before, if that makes sense. Like it was more piano chords. It sounded like piano. So right at the gate, I was inspired to do that, and that was my goal. So even if it wasn't happening immediately, like there was some things I picked up right away that the things I was chasing, I was like, okay, I figured out how to play that. I love that. I probably played it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But like each time I got my bearings a bit more and got more comfortable, it got easier to be. I was inspired the whole time, but I was able to progress more time I put into it.
Yeah. Okay.
There was a lot of frustration too. Trust me, there was a lot of times where I was playing.
It's comforting.
Like, what the hell am I doing? Like, how do I even find? Like, I'm hearing in my head what I wanted to, but I just can't even find it right now.
Yeah.
But in time, that went away.
Okay.
It's just time. The answer is always time.
Yeah, of course. But I think depending on the motivation, like I went down, pitch tuning, whatever, because of the tone. Not as much because I wasn't inspired in standard, but everything that I was hearing, whether it was you, whether it was Joey, whether it was, I come from a lot of metal as well, and I think that did influence it.
Oh, that's even lower tuning.
Oh yeah. But like I was very much used to hearing that, and I was like, this sounds better. For some reason, this sounds better. But I went in because of the sound and not because of what it opened for me musically when I picked up the guitar. So I just wanted to see where you were coming from in that regard.
Exactly the same as you. It all starts from somewhere where you hear something cool, you go, I like that, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And then you kind of find a way to make it work for you and make it your own. That's the journey, man. That's normal.
Cool. All right, I'm on the right path.
You are, yeah.
But thank you very much for your question. Was it immer wieder Sommer? Yeah. Open chords, yes, he was happy with the answer. That is good to know.
Nice.
Poo Ninja is here. Poo Ninja is an absolute legend, and he always has good questions. And so I hope you're well. And his question is, glass, metal, or synthetic? What is your favorite type of slide?
Well, I'm biased because I have my own signature slide, and it's brass, which is usually brighter sounding. I have a bunch of slides. I have, other than my own, like I have, glass, nickel, ceramic, all those. To be honest, they're all different. I think glass is like the warmest sounding.
Okay.
Ceramic, which I never really got on with, is warmer. Yeah, if anything, I like everything dark and warm. The brass slide being so bright kind of balances it out, to be honest. And it's not bright like it's harsh at all. It's not. Yeah. But I've just always played brass. One of my favorite slide players ever played brass. So I was like, that kind of what I want to do, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
And I just found what worked for me, and I never looked back. But I do encourage people, not surprisingly, not to just buy my slide, because it might not work for everybody. But just to try as many.
Possible. Yeah.
Because, usually people go to the store and they just try any slide. They grab one off I'll take that one. And they take it home and it's 3 times the size of their finger. And they really struggle with it. And they go, I guess I'm just bad at this,
Yeah.
But it's a technique that you really need to have the right tools. So having the right material is important because it's going to shape the way that it sounds. But more important than the material, it doesn't matter. It's the size.
Yeah.
And that's, mine is like, it's supposed to be like a glove, like it's the same size as your finger. That's the whole point. And, I know some people still like using like the bigger slides. I personally don't understand it. I think hithers you're playing. I think it makes it hinders you're playing harder. And it's all about making it work. It's all about making it easier for you. So that's the direction I go for. You got to put the work in, but like take certain steps to make the tools work in your favor. You know?
Oh yeah, definitely. I was so much in that category, starting with the slide, like a glass slide that was way too big for me, and ended up actually taking the time to try them out and figure out which was the best one, and that helped.
Dude, I spent so many years playing a slide that wasn't the right size.
Yeah.
That I got so used to it that I made it work in a way.
Yeah.
And once I finally, hooked up with Danny from the Rock Slide and started playing his stuff, because I went through a bunch of his before we settled on the signature one.
Yeah.
It took some adjustment to have one that fit my finger the right way, because I had just gotten so used to it fitting horribly.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. And rock slides are really, really solid. Like I'm partial as well, but if you guys are looking into that, try a bunch of them.
They're great. And Danny's just like super accommodating, and he wants to just make sure everyone gets exactly what they're looking for.
That's good. That's what we expect. Company. Yeah, shout out, but well deserved. Well deserved. And he's happy with the answer. Size matters. Yes, it does. I guess so. Okay. Danny. Hola from España. Hi, Danny. So Ariel, I love your tone, but I can't get that kind of tones with my fuzzes. Only muddy waters. Any tip? So I guess that cleaned up kind of fuzz situation, I think is, or maybe like full blown fuzz. I'm not too sure. If you can be more specific on your fuzz, Danny, that'd be cool.
Yeah, well, there's a couple factors, and obviously this is specifically just to how I use it. This is not the answer of all answers, but I'm always playing an amp that has high headroom. Like the Two-Rock is what you're hearing.
Yeah.
And so right out the gate, that's 100 watts of power. That's a lot of power. And I'm always using one overdrive pedal that stays on all the time. So like right now, full blown. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
That's full volume right now. And then if I turn it down, it gets clean. So that's my always on kind of sound. So whenever I use a fuzz, I almost never use a fuzz on its own. It's always in front of an overdrive pedal.
Yeah.
So like I'll kick on this. This is the Equatus by my friend Dan Korner. Also in Germany, Dan Drive pedal. Have you heard of those?
Oh yeah.
So when I turn it down, it still retains it, but it's also got that woolly kind of sound, and that's what I like in a fuzz. I don't. There's a lot of fuzz style fuzzes that I don't care for, and I just like that big, woolly, like a blanket.
Yeah. Oh sound.
Yeah. And I just basically turn it up as loud as it can. As loud as I can, and then I use it really sparingly. That's how. I have another one here. This is the Jesse Davey King Tone. This is the germanium.
Oh, yeah.
At the front of my chain, it actually. I got this slap on here. Yeah, they both sound different, but they're in the same family of noise and great sound. I just love that sound. I've been using fuzz more as a boost for solos than I do with a boost, because the only pedal I'll stack that isn't a fuzz is my broadcast pedal, my signature one. Other than that, it's always fuzz.
Always fuzz. Always fuzz. That's the answer. Yeah. I mean, my fuzz, my love for fuzz really only started recently, and it started solely because of you. I was never that big into it, but seeing the kind of control you had over it with the volume down, that was something that I was never doing for the longest time. When I was like, it was either all the fuzz or no fuzz, and then you start realizing that there is so much to it.
Right.
On clean or like breakup clean fuzz, like, oh my god.
Yeah, when you mess with the bias, you know, you get the spitty, broken, battery dying sound, or you get the other side of it. One thing about fuzz that I like, the way I like to use it, I see so many people that kick on a fuzz, whether you're pushing it with another pedal or not, they just have the gain way too hot on it.
Yeah.
I think fuzzes will sound warmer and nicer, especially when it's pushed, if you back down the gain a bit more.
Yeah.
And bump the volume. It's worked for me.
Great. That's a really good tip. Okay, there was some. I'm sorry, I forgot where I read that earlier. But so you were saying someone was asking about the position of the pedals, essentially, and there was your drives compared to your broadcast compared to your fuzz. How's that going on?
So the order I go, I do like a Cobb / octave fuzz.
Yeah.
Like I have that first, and then I have my main fuzz after that. Actually, right now I have I have that Kingtone fuzz at the very front. It's not even on the pedal board.
Yeah.
But I go octave fuzz, and then I do my two main overdrives. I always try to have two, and I never stack them. It's either one or the other, and those ones are my always on. So like the Duelist or a Jan Ray, or like a King of Tone.
Yeah,
those are my always on. And then the broadcast is after that. So I'm pushing the broadcast after because I want a bit more headroom.
Yeah.
And more necessarily more dirt.
Okay. That was fun. I would have believed the broadcast was kind of sitting in between the boo and the broadcast pushing the overdrives, but still being before the fuzzes. Okay.
But here's the thing. Cool. Here's the thing. The broadcast, we're opening a whole other door of, I'm obviously super biased, but the broadcast can do any of those sounds. It can do the always on overdrive. It can do the Klon kind of boost thing, which is how I like to use it.
Yeah.
And it can do the fuzz thing. And once you open up, if anyone hanging out in the chat has got one, like, I encourage you to screw off the back and mess with the trim pots inside, and you can mess with the bias, you can mess with the gain, you can add more gain, have less. It's kind of like that Swiss Army knife pedal, which is what everyone says, but it really truly is.
It really is, yeah. Good.
Like I could do a pedal board of like 2 or 3 broadcasts. Like one is a fuzz, one is an overdrive, and one is a preamp. Maybe I'll do a video on that. I have a handful of prototypes that we did.
Dude,
right?
That is such a good idea.
It'd be a fun idea. I think the guys threatened it on the pedal show last time I was there, but I don't think they've done it.
I don't think I remember seeing that. No.
It probably hasn't happened, but it is a killer pedal. It is a killer pedal.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for that. Sorry, I'm losing the thread here. So you play. Oh, Travis again. Travis from Australia. So you play with a slide a lot, obviously. Do you play with higher action on all your guitars to play slide, or do you have dedicated guitars to, I guess, finger pick or slide? Or
well, I play slide and don't play slide on every guitar. You know, my approach, whether it's an open tuning or standard tuning, is the same. I'm either playing slide or I'm not. So yeah, every guitar, I couldn't tell you the measurements, but the action is higher than average. And it has to just be at a level where it feels right. I couldn't tell you what that height is.
Yeah.
But when I have my guitars worked on, it's all a feel thing, and you just know. When you know, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I like a fight. So if strings are really light and the action's really low, like obviously it's harder to play slide, but even without a slide, like I just don't play like myself. I have a tendency to try to play fast. I think we all do when action's really low and it's really burning, where it's like, oh, it's easy to play.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I want the opposite. I want to fight. I want to earn every note, and I want it to sound like each note is being earned to a degree.
That's it. Yeah, because like that fight gives up something different in the tone that is just like it needs to be there. It needs to happen.
Exactly.
It's fun because every time I look at my guitars and the way my guitars are set up, it's like it looks like these pictures you see in Facebook groups about like, look at how this is done. This is terrible. There's like a centimeter in between the fretboard and the low E or C or whatever, and I'm like, but this is how I play it. This is how I like it.
Yeah. The setup is super important. Like you got to keep in mind.
Yeah.
And I know you know this, but like, so yeah, I do play a lot of slide, but I do play a lot of. I'm like 50-50.
Yeah.
Half the time I'm playing slide, half of the time I'm not. So it's not like a simple just raise the saddles a bit, because like once you raise the action here, you know, you can slide up here comfortably, but you also got to make sure on the nut.
Yeah.
It's really quite annoying, but when you find the right level so that the slide, it works everywhere and it doesn't like fret out anywhere, then it's great.
Yeah, it is. Because that can definitely discourage you as well if you trying to pick up the slide. Like my first attempts were me thinking that I was doing something wrong when really I was probably doing something wrong, but the action was also way too low for me to play slide comfortably. So
yeah, it was probably all just because of the action. You weren't doing anything wrong.
Thank you very much. I don't believe you, but it feels good to hear. Sean, hi from Sean. I'm not sure. I just read Ireland afterwards, so I might be mispronouncing that. I'm very sorry. Hey, from Cork Island. What's your favorite octave fuzz? And where do you? Well, I think we've answered where do you place it, but your favorite octave fuzz.
I have a couple favorites at the moment. My two favorites is the Octoland by Kingtone.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that I have here, which is the Argonaut or the Argo by Mythos.
Oh yeah.
Which is it's more of just a clean octave. Like it's not an octave fuzz, but it is like it does that cob thing. If you go really light on it and turn the volume. Those two are my favorite for sure.
Nice. Yeah, they're really good shouts.
I like them because when you turn down, it can get really clean and nice.
Yeah.
And it's fat and warm sounding, and it's just got that headroom. You know, it's not thin and ugly sounding. It's like meaty and like it's loud.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. No, that's definitely. But it's always such a personal thing as well. Like what you're saying, like echoes a lot with what Josh Smith is always saying about headroom and trying to minimize compression as much as possible, and that's why he loves that kind of pedal as well. And that makes a ton of sense because it goes with the guitar, it goes with the amp, playing where you're at. So yeah. Walid.
Exactly.
Hey Walid, how are you doing, man? He was saying regarding the slide thing, Guthrie Govan put a subway ticket under the strings of the first fret to raise the action when you play slide. Yeah, that kind of robs you of the open tuning though. Like if your first fret is subway ticket. But I think I've seen that somewhere, yeah, for like players like actually putting something after the nut to raise the action just when they had like that one slide bit to make it more comfortable. But it's not a viable solution. I mean, you tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it's a viable solution if you're doing both.
Not if you're trying to do it the right way. I mean,
yeah,
a guy like Guthrie, I imagine he's most of the time playing with pretty low action, and he's got his thing that works for him, just ripping around.
Yeah.
On the fly, I could see if anyone's going to do that, it would be him. Like, if anyone's going to drink a cup of coffee in one hand and shred, obviously it's him. If anyone's going to do any of that stuff, I could see that for sure.
Yeah.
But, oh, sorry, man.
No problem, man.
But, yeah, I mean, putting a subway ticket maybe in a pinch when you need to change something quickly could work, but otherwise, I don't think that's going to be your best option. I would fully, if you can afford to make it happen, try to devote a guitar to be set up for slide.
Yeah.
Or if you're like me, just every guitar you play, if you're going to be planning on doing it a lot, make them all across the board consistent, whatever the tuning is, so that you can switch between them at any time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a more viable solution if you're anyone but Guthrie Govan. But that's a cool nugget of information right there.
Yeah, that's funny.
Okay, what did I miss? What's the shop open back up? Get fitted for something shiny. Yes, you definitely need to try slide. Slide is cool. Nice promo overlay. So I guess Phil has been doing a good job at putting some pedal and board picture on it.
Nice.
Action. Okay, I think I haven't missed anything. I'm just gonna. I have a couple of questions because I've been following religiously your song series, and some.
Thanks, man.
No, I mean they're really good, and it's like something that you can't be thankful enough for, to have like the actual person who wrote the song or the arrangement actually explain to you. Like, it feels normal for us now to some extent, but 5 or 10 years ago, that was something like you had to go out and buy the DVD that was with the magazine, or like the VHS or whatever, to have maybe that one song. So it's like, I'm really thankful for that. It's really cool. And if you guys haven't checked it out, please go and do so. Right now, I'm just
please check it out.
Ahead. By the way, we put like a bunch of Ariel's, so YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. It's all in the description box down below. If you want to go and have a look, it's right there. Sorry, personal question, because right now I'm learning your version of Angeline, and it took me an unreasonable amount of time to figure out that it was not in open C. You were actually playing its standard tuning.
Yeah, I'm in this tuning. I'm in B standard.
And you capo in C sharp. Or C. Okay.
Yeah, I capo the second fret, and it's an E, so I'm playing it in G position.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just in G.
Yes. But thank you.
Steak over.
Like, I only figured it out yesterday. I was like, because the kind of like, it felt open tuning to me, and so like for the longest time I was like, okay, I got that, but then I need to bar this and then slide 5 frets across. It doesn't work. Like, it's good, but it can't do that, right?
Yeah, no, it actually would work probably a bit easier in open tuning, to be honest.
Yeah.
There's a lot more moving around in standard tuning than that needs to happen. But almost everybody that I've ever seen cover it, my version at least, is always in open tuning. No one is in this tuning.
Well, I'm like, I'll do a cover of it in standard tuning.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing this weekend. What about you guys?
I like that. I mean, the tuning is important in my version because the bridge part.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff, you can't really do it in open tuning.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you very much for that. That was a weight off my shoulders. Dirty lucky fellow man. Hi from Mexico. Do you ever use some digital device for practice, like Kemper or only physical, or like I guess actual tube amps? Are you partial in the digital modeling world?
I'm into it. I used to have an 11 rack back in the day.
Yeah.
Which it served me very well. I did a lot of sessions from home and I practiced a lot on it. I've used the Kemper many times, never live, but I've used it many times. Actually, yeah, I have used it live, but primarily for like doing videos or sessions. And you know what? It's okay. I think they're all really good, and they've never been better. You know, we live in a time where they're incredible. Sure. I would love to have a Kemper. Like, I think they are very useful. However, for me, playing live, and even like if it really, really, really matters, as good as the Kemper is, it just loses like the touch sensitivity and the dynamics.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that is missing for me. Like, they sound good. And they even feel good. Like, that's one thing that everyone is always complaining about. Like, you run a Kemper into a cabinet, like, it feels good.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, when I want to turn down, and like I was telling you at the beginning of the video, I live on my volume thing here, and I'm usually sitting at like 6 or 7 on the volume, and I'm not usually wide open. So when I want to turn down and still have that attack and bite and warmth that I get from an actual amp, I lose that on the Kemper.
I get that.
Or on any of the other ones. That's my only quarrel. Otherwise, they're great. And in fact, I would continue to keep using them. There's no reason not to. I just prefer an actual amp for live. Like, I want to hear, or I'd rather want to feel the air from the amp behind my leg, you know. And it's just a dynamics thing. That's the only thing that's missing for me.
Yeah, I mean, 100% with you when you say that they've never been better. That's for sure, and they sound incredible, definitely. But we always get back to the same answer. Like, I feel like we've had that question in the live stream with everyone that I've gone live with, and everyone's end up like saying the same thing. Like, they're really good, but they won't make you play the same way as if you were playing with an app. And I think that was like the only. You play differently when you play through an app. Yeah. Even if the sound is great.
Agreed. That being said, though, too, like what I do specifically, you know, it's very. I don't want to use the word organic because that sounds really pretentious, but
I'll use it. What you're doing is very organic.
There's a synchronicity between the guitar and the amp and the way you're playing that it has to happen. Mm-hmm. It's integral. Like, I need to have an amp that's high powered, that's pushing air and giving me headroom. You know, if you're on a gig playing like with a pop artist or a pop band or like a country thing where you need to have the same consistent sound every night, or you need to have a really quiet stage sound or no stage sound at all, and you're all on ears, then like it's a no-brainer. Why would you not play that?
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. Hey, if I can be proven wrong, I would love to be proven wrong on the Kemper for anything other than like a pop rock gig of any or whatever. Like, yeah.
Okay. Well, they heard you loud and clear. They'll work on it, I'm sure. Okay. So waiting on my thing to refresh there because it's a bit slow. And I just realized we've been talking for 50 minutes already, almost an hour, which is crazy.
Wow, time flies.
It does. Okay, free plug time. What do you have going on? What do you have going on in the near future that you're excited about, that you want to share right now, right here?
Well, I do have a new record coming out. I'm not at the liberty of saying when yet. But that is what I've been working on, especially in this quarantine times. That's the next thing that's happening. Obviously, I had a bunch of gigs this summer, festivals, and a bunch of touring planned for the fall. Has all been canceled. So I'm sorry to all the places that haven't been able to come to this year. But hopefully by next year we'll, new record, new music, a lot of new shows. But yeah, other than that, I got that new album. I've been doing that song series thing. So if anyone wants to go to my YouTube and learn some songs and tag me in it, I'd love to see that.
Are you planning on keeping that going, the song series?
I think so. It's like the trial period. I'm testing the waters.
Yeah,
I came out hot. I wanted to try a bunch at a time, and then now I'm stripping it back. But I think I need to change it up. I think I need to do something to, I don't know necessarily keep it interesting, but like just grow it a bit more.
Yeah.
And it takes time, but
of course,
there's so many people online that are just telling people this is how you should do it. Like, here are 5 things you should think about when you're wanting to do this. 5 things I wish I knew when I was playing guitar. You want to get better at this, and I was like, we don't need to do that. Like, just here's some songs that I get asked about a million times. Like, here, let's just learn some music and like take your own interpretation and play it. Like, that's just wanted to do something different.
I'm all in. You guys definitely should go check it out. Again, all the links are in the description box. Okay, do we have time? Yeah, we do have time for some more questions. Ryan was asking, do you have any tips for doing session work and getting good results from home? I suppose tone-wise then.
Yeah. Again, back to our conversation about the Kemper. We do live in a time where good sounds have never been easier to get. And for lockdown, I have been fortunate to be doing a bunch of sessions, and I've really been digging the aux, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
I think the aux is absolutely incredible. I mean, the 2 Notes Torpedo is really good. I've been using like the IRs and like cab sims for a few years now, because at least you still get the characteristic of your amp. You still get those dynamics. You get the meat and potatoes of your amp.
Yeah.
Because like, to be honest, right now my setup doesn't sound as great. Like, if I put a mic on an amp, first of all, I don't want to go deaf in here, and it's just not treated 100% great for it.
Yeah.
Like, I'll record vocals. I'll record like acoustics, resonator, but I really prefer using the aux or the torpedo type of things.
Yeah.
And I think just getting a good sound for sessions, it's important that whatever you're sending out to your clients or whoever it is, other than the most important thing is making sure your parts and your playing is killer. But other than that, I think he meant specifically towards the sound.
Yeah.
Making sure it's clean, making sure you're cleaning up all your crossfades and your edits if there's anything like that.
Yeah.
And just as long as it's not bad, just there's so much people can do in post now that
that's
if
true
it needs a little bit of love, they can do that.
Yeah.
But you know what? It really isn't hard to throw a 57 on an amplifier.
Mm-hmm.
We also live in a time where YouTube, anything you could ever need to learn in life, you can just YouTube it. YouTube how to do proper mic placement. Throw a 57 on there. I've gotten some of my favorite guitar tones or sounds or parts that I've ever recorded for people came from not caring, just draping a 57 around it, and it sounded incredible. Just as long as you're comfortable and you're feeling good about your sound when you're recording, that's going to make it sound good. So just make it comfortable and make it sound the way you need it to hear it, the way you're hearing it in your head,
That is one really good advice, man. But backed up completely, Ryan. I hope you're happy with that answer. That it doesn't really get any better. maybe we'll throw out some links after this goes actually public on YouTube. But what Ariel said, definitely the aux, the Captor X that just came out, that is amazing.
Oh yeah, I gotta try that.
Some really cool.
Tried.
I haven't tried it either. Like, it's gone out of stock as soon as it was in, so like I haven't got a chance to. But I've been using the Rev stuff and the D20, which is embedded with the 2 notes IRs.
Yeah. So on familiar ground, I was using the Turok and this Insulander. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
So I was using that in stereo, and then the way I have my pedal board set up is that whenever I kick on the trem, I can engage another amp.
Oh yeah,
a third amp. So I use the G20.
Oh, nice.
So on familiar ground, whenever you're hearing the tremolo come on, you're hearing all 3 amps, but you're also hearing that rev come in. It just pushes a touch more air, even though we just use like the cab sim. It just, you just feel the trem, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and why have 2 amps when you can have 3, right?
Totally. I last year I was touring in the UK, right when the album came out, and I kind of came up with that idea. I had a pedal board, and I was very fortunate to have the 2 Turoks. One was a spare, just in case, and then I had a Victory V40. Yeah. And it was like, man, we're lugging all these things in the van as a backup. Let me just use them all. And I took because the Flint has stereo outs, right? So I took another out into the third amp, into the Victory. So I was going stereo, maybe not true stereo, but just like, running 2 amps with the Turoks. And then whenever the trem would kick on, the Victory would come on too. And it just, no reverb on that amp, just totally clean. And it just pushed the air in such a gorgeous way that it felt amazing, and to be in front of that.
I missed you on that tour. That will not happen again. Simon in the chat here said it sounded phenomenal. So I assume Simon Williams was at the show, and he hopes you well.
Simon, hope you're well, my friend.
Well, yeah, guys, that's about an hour by now. That went by so fast.
It did go by very fast, man.
Billion questions. Okay, we'll have to do that again.
Anytime, man.
But thank you, Ariel, so much for your time and for your knowledge and information, when stuff or everything. And thank you guys in the chat for your questions. That was really great. Thank you for anyone who's watching that in the future. Don't forget to check out everything Ariel. All the links are in the description box for YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Hopefully checking him out live for the second record.
Sooner than later, hopefully.
hopefully sooner than later. But yeah, thank you again so much, man.
Thank you, man. My pleasure. Really nice to hang with you.
And thank you guys. Take care of yourselves. Keep making music, and bye-bye.